Okay, who's up next? Oh yeah, Mr. Moderator. There's whopping one small, huge budget here.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
before we start on the moderator's budget, please make a note that I have to recuse myself from this because I happen to know the guy really well.
You know that guy?
So,
Okay.
I will take my hearing aids out and I won't pay any attention to what you say.
Thank you.
It wasn't on the original.
What page is that on?
Page 14.
Couple of little minor changes from the way this is presented this year than last year. One is very well clarified that the position is not paid as a stipend. I do have a salary. That has been increased. One of the issues that was brought up previously, some of this material, and I brought this up at the selectmen's hearing review of the budget, is the key item here that has changed through the structure of the organization is way back in the beginning of my term as moderator. I was supposed to have at least 2 clerks available to cover town meeting committee procedures, especially when you have different hearings going on, different committees at the same night. Over the past 2 or 3 years, the moderator has been filling in, which he should not be doing, assigning to the chairman of the committee, being in charge of turning the information over to Mrs. Lorette, and usually that only consists of verifying the attendance, that the meeting was held, and we are still, that's a bad practice. One evening, there was a joint meeting between 2 boards, the planning board and the municipal regulations committee. I was at that meeting. I was very ill, and I thought I could rely on the clerk of the planning board, and I found that she didn't have any notes or anything, so it was a few other people that kept notes. It does take someone who's familiar with what's going on at any one of these keeping notes. Mrs. Lorette has been with me almost all of my 25, 26, I stopped counting after 25 years as moderator. And, making sure you know the people's names and how the operation works. But it's always good to have, and many towns have a system where there's at least a clerical pool where somebody can be moved around. And that's only my suggestion on it, because those, as you know, as one of the standing committees, your information has to be up equally timely, especially when you're going to get into the real heavy stuff in the next few weeks, that, you're going almost probably 4 days down to 5 with hearings and other subcommittee business. And if you don't have somewhere, sometimes people do get ill, some people have other engagements, things happen. We should have some ability to have some flexibility of second call people filling in. That was one of the issues I brought up before. And on the issues of dues and subscriptions, as in the previous hearing. Yes, I'm a member, have been a member of the Mass Moderators Association. I do attend their annual meeting, and most of their, we have regional meetings at this time of year, discuss common issues, and some issues that are very new. In fact, the result of some of this is still going on. This past year, including Stoughton, a number of town meetings have gone into electronic voting devices. I can congratulate Stoughton for coming down with a reasonably priced device. There are some questions we have, and I've got to work out with the policies. By the way, I do have a note. I do have, as a side, because if you need, this is all the members of the committee should have the town meeting and elections schedule. It's actually what my job is to do, is make sure everybody knows what they are doing. And sometimes I don't even know, that when these deadlines are. I got a call from one of the selectmen in a panic. He mentioned that he thought the warrant closed next week, but it does close pretty darn close to next week, Tuesday the 7th, and after that, things really get going high gear. So these are available. That's some of the internal stuff that becomes the moderator's job. Simply, the statute requires the moderator to be responsible for the entire town meeting process, and records have to be up to date, timely, and Mrs. Loretta's been keeping up with what she has. But like I say, there's a lot of stuff that I personally have to do to make sure everything is right. And a lot of times, some of this material, because of so much confusion, no, I don't call it confusion.
Okay, we got the idea. Stephanie, you have something to say?
With all due respect to Mr. Hanson, we're on his budget, not town meeting, and I want to hear about his budget. I understand the process with the town meeting and what he's up against, but I'm here for the budget hearing, and I hope we can stay on that course. Thank you.
The only, one of the suggestions that was, has been affected is these two, as they are in the book, the town moderators, the rest of the budget, in-service training, that might be a little bit low, but that's not, dues and subscriptions, but they're all in the same category. Now, in the clerk's budget is town meeting committee supplies, and there was a request to have that line item be included in the moderator's budget, just to identify it as town meeting, but the administration of those committee supplies still should be going through the town clerk. We now do, and it's the first, last year was the first year it was instituted, that the supplies for the moderator are now being actually provided by centralized purchasing through the clerk's office. It's worked a lot better, and that's where it should be, but it should be carried in the moderator's budget only as a matter of knowing that is where it's being used. So that's about the only change that it was discussed at the selectmen's meeting, and there was some confusion of where they were talking about it, but that's what was originally planned to put that $4,900 should have been under the town moderator's budget. But it's only in the sense for recognition of where the money's being used.
Okay, thank you. Discussion?
Sounds good to me.
Huh?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Anybody else?
Have you identified any in-service training and education or dues and subscriptions?
Oh, yes, I attend at least 3 or 4 meetings
We can get a
out
new
of,
battery for
You
that.
attend 3 or 4 for the cost of $100 total?
well, there's also a membership fee, the annual meeting.
He gets that fresh battery.
These really meetings that are very valuable, especially for
You
updating.
here?
And there's one being planned very soon, which we usually do in March, in February and March, about updating on how,
And do those expenses come out of just this 325, that's all you're anticipating is 325? Or does that include the 5,000 up above
the
one as well?
$5,000 is my salary.
So the training and the dues and subscriptions, you only anticipate costing $325?
But sometimes whenever we do these things, we go on past experience.
All right.
So sometimes those things change in the meantime, but I think the 325 should cover it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
And this is actually to you, Ed, I think. There's a mistake in the addition. If $325 are the expenses, I think it was added twice under fiscal 18 requested, it was changed under the proposed. They should both be $5,325. It's just, the bottom of fiscal 18 requested says $5,650. It actually should be $5,325, like the others.
What's on the selectmen?
You're under the town.
Interesting, the cell didn't work right on that.
I think what happened was somebody added the 325 in.
Yeah,
So that should be what?
it got doubled up, yeah. It's a math issue. Thank you. Okay, we good? All right.
You say that's a change. Okay.
Yes, we're good. Thank you, Howard.